Welcome to Daily Papers, the podcast where we break down the latest research into bite-sized conversations.
Today, we're asking a question you might have pondered while arguing with your smart speaker. Can you actually persuade an AI?
It's a great question. We often think of AI as neutral and objective, especially the large language models or LLMs that power chatbots like ChatGPT. If you ask one a controversial question, it will usually try to give you a balanced answer, or maybe even refuse to take a side.
Exactly. That's by design. They're trained to be helpful and harmless, which often means staying on the fence. But today's paper asks, what happens if you try to push them off that fence? The paper is titled, Can One-Sided Arguments Lead to Response Change in Large Language Models?
So, can you essentially debate a chatbot and win? The researchers wanted to see if they could systematically steer an LLM's opinion on a controversial topic, just by showing it arguments that all supported one specific viewpoint.
And they didn't just pick easy topics. They used what they call polemic questions. These are the big, debatable questions from history, politics, and religion where strong arguments exist on both sides. Think things like, was the French Revolution a good thing for France?
To test this, they would first ask the LLM the question directly, with no extra information. This gave them a baseline answer. It might say yes, no, or give a neutral, balanced answer.
Then came the persuasion attempt. They would present the LLM with a list of one-sided arguments. So if they wanted the AI to agree that the French Revolution was good, they would only provide arguments about liberty, equality, and the end of monarchy. They would completely leave out the reign of terror and all the chaos.
It's like being a lawyer who only presents evidence for their own side. But the researchers were really clever here. They didn't just test one way of persuading the AI. They tested several different techniques to see what was most effective.
Right, they broke it down into three main variables. The first was how the AI was asked to respond. They tested asking for a simple yes or no, which is a bit like asking for an objective fact.
And they contrasted that with asking for an I agree or I disagree response. This frames the answer as a personal opinion or stance, not just a factual judgment.
The second variable was how the arguments themselves were presented. One method was straightforward. Just give the AI a block of text listing all the one-sided points. Here are the facts, now what do you think?
But the other method was much more crafty. They used a dialogue format to make it feel like a conversation. They'd present one argument and ask, "This happened, right?" The model would say yes. Then they'd present another, and this was a result. Do you agree? And the model would say, "I agree."
It's like leading a witness. After getting the AI to agree to each individual point, they would then hit it with the main question again. They're basically getting the AI to nod along with them step by step before asking for the final verdict.
So you have these different combinations, a personal versus a non-personal response, and a conversational dialogue versus a simple block of text. The ultimate question is, did any of this work? Could they actually change the AI's mind?
The answer was a resounding yes. The paper found that providing these one-sided arguments had a dramatic effect. Across all the different AI models they tested, the number of positive responses, where the AI agreed with the arguments, shot up.
So the AI's initial programming to be balanced and neutral was pretty easily overwritten.
It seems so. The models became much more likely to say yes or I agree. At the same time, the number of negative responses, no or I disagree, almost always decreased. The arguments successfully steered the AI's response to the desired outcome.
That's fascinating. Was there a specific combination that worked best? A magic formula for persuading an AI?
There was, and it's quite intuitive. The most effective persuasion happened when the style of the arguments matched the style of the requested response.
What do you mean by that?
Well, if you wanted the AI to give a personal opinion, like I agree, the most effective way to persuade it was using the personal conversational dialogue. It's like the AI is being brought into a subjective discussion, so that conversational approach works best.
And what about for the objective yes or no answers?
For that, the more effective method was the non-personal block of text. It's as if the AI is thinking, okay, you're asking me for an objective judgment, so just give me the list of facts. It aligns the context with the expected output.
Okay, but this raises another question. Is the AI actually being persuaded by the logic of the arguments, or is it just being a people pleaser? There's a known phenomenon in AI called sycophancy, where the model just agrees with the user to seem helpful.
That's the million-dollar question, and the researchers had a brilliant way to test it. They ran another experiment where they switched the arguments. They'd ask the AI a question about, say, a historical event, but then feed it completely irrelevant arguments from a different topic, like modern politics.
So the arguments had nothing to do with the question being asked.
Exactly, and when they did this, the persuasive effect plummeted. The AI was far less likely to change its answer. This is a huge finding because it suggests the AI isn't just mindlessly agreeing. The actual content and relevance of the arguments are what's causing the opinion shift.
So what's the big takeaway from all this?
The main takeaway is that LLMs, for all their complexity, are vulnerable to the same kinds of persuasion and bias that humans are. If you only show them one side of a story, you can heavily influence the conclusion they reach. Their programming for neutrality is not an impenetrable shield.
And that has some pretty serious real-world implications. You can imagine how this could be used to manipulate AI bots on social media, for example. You could steer them into promoting a certain viewpoint, which could help create online echo chambers or spread misinformation.
Absolutely. This paper is a crucial look at how easily an AI's perspective can be shaped. It's a reminder that these tools are not perfect, objective arbiters of truth. They reflect the information they're given, and if that information is biased, their output will be too.
A fascinating study and a bit of a cautionary tale. That's all the time we have for this episode of Daily Papers. Join us next time for another deep dive into the world of research.